We got good news and bad news. Matthew, what's up?
Hey there. What is the bad news? Wow, I'm surprised. This is going to be fun. Let's do this.
We're about to find out.
Ready or not, here they come. Be sure to visit schoolstatus.com, peachjar.com, nickelstrategies.com, and smore.com. Advocating for public education, sharing our stories, and celebrating our schools, students, and staff. From crisis communications to media relations, social media, and everything in between, we're here to give you the best strategies, tools, and techniques to help you help your community. Welcome to the School PR Podcast, brought to you by Peach Jar, School Status, Nickel Strategies, and S'more. Love 'em or leave 'em. Here's your hosts, Matthew Jennings and Ryan Ferran.
All right, the good news is there could be a great opportunity to help combat declining enrollment, to recruit students. It's all the rage these days as everyone is hemorrhaging students, as it seems, or that's the reaction. And I think there's an area that is often overlooked by so many. In fact, I know it is.
Okay.
Matthew, do you know what that area is?
We need more kids to be born into the world, but I don't think that's where you're going with this.
You are correct.
There you go.
I am thinking athletics.
Okay.
It is a big driver for enrollment. It's why a lot of families select different schools and school districts because of their athletic programs, a specific team, a coach they like. And I think, to be honest, so many people are ignoring athletics in their own district. I know they are. I've sent photos to several people of their own teams that I'm at a playoff game, or we host the largest track and field event in America. We host it every year. It's the prestigious event, the Arcadia Invitational. I'll send pictures to colleagues that I know of their athletes, their schools in there. I put it last year in that big Facebook group, and people are just like, they don't know sports, they don't know what's going on, so they don't publicize it, they don't promote it. And in my opinion, it's such a missed opportunity to promote your athletics, to promote your programs, whether you know sports or not. And I think it's because people that don't grow up playing sports, it is a culture, it is a jargon, there's something to know. So if you don't know it, you're not familiar with it, you kind of you don't know what the big deal it is and how really families are moving back and forth. In Southern California, where we're at, I mean, it is a hotbed for athletics. Kids are jumping schools all the time. They're trying to find the best programs. But even if you're not the Mater Deis, the De La Salle, teams like that, there's second tier schools and programs where those kids are looking to go to. And you may have an amazing Division I baseball, football, track team, tennis, golf. But if you're not promoting it and you don't know about it, I just think that's such a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I know, and I've talked to several colleagues before about this kind of topic and how they cover sports, and a lot of people just don't. And I know I didn't heavily. I relied on my athletics departments at the individual schools to really work on the promotion and the social media and all of that stuff, because it's really hard. And what I've heard from others, it's really hard to cover things fairly and equitably. And especially since a lot of love ends up going the way of the traditional, boys football, boys basketball. You have those traditional sports that kind of suck up their time and the resources and get the love and attention that others don't. Maybe girls volleyball doesn't get as much attention, but man, if you've ever gone to one of those games, they are on fire, and it's a lot of fun. So I think there's a lot of that. It's hard to dip your toe into that, especially if you're a one-person shop, and you don't maybe necessarily have the capacity to be out there at games or sporting events, that kind of stuff. And that's where, I know in the past I've relied personally as well on athletic departments to fill me in and keep me in the loop. But I also didn't do the best job of resharing that stuff on our district social media, if I'm just being, honest about it. And again, it was, for me, I felt like the equity wasn't necessarily there, because those big programs that always get the love, they're usually really good at promoting themselves.
Agree. And you bring up several good points, and I will combat both of them. The equity one is one we always face, and it's a tough one. And in order to do true equity, do you know what our social media pages would look like, Matthew?
Oh yeah, everything all the time be chaos.
Or true equity would be nothing, because that's really the only way to achieve true equity
Mm-hmm.
is everyone gets the same and it's zero, because you can't really achieve true equity because there's going to be. But even if you take out athletics from your post, like, okay, we're not going to post because a football team always gets love. We
Yep.
do the same thing with, we have more students at one high school, so they're going to get more posts. We do, there's a music program where the orchestra instructor is always sending you stuff. So, it's not true equity. You strive for it and you do your best. But honestly, if it was true equity, none of us would have Facebook pages because you can't achieve it. Do you have the same amount of boys and girls ratio? Do you have the same amount of posts from each school? You don't. So if you really want to do equity, delete all your Facebook pages, because I can find inequities within every single one of our pages. It's a reality of life.
It's
Do you not
true.
agree with that?
No, it's true. It's true. But what there is just kind of counterbalance there is when you're dealing with a larger district, 30 plus schools, in the districts that I've worked in, right? Like that gets really tricky because your social media can get clogged instantly, which is athletics.
How would you even attempt to be fair then?
That's why a lot of people are just like, I'm gonna have to depend on those athletic departments to get that out there and promote their social media feeds, because at any given night, a comprehensive school district with multiple schools, multiple athletic events happening, and you could have 10, 15 athletic events each night at those school districts, right? And so
right,
your feeds could be taken over really quickly with just athletics if you were really trying to get out there and
but
make
you're
sure
not.
stuff's covered.
I'm not suggesting post every game every night. Like, that's impossible to do. But you should be posting some things. And yeah, when you have a team go to CIF playoffs or win a state championship, you should be covering that. Like,
absolutely.
I'm sorry, like that's inexcusable. And so many people are not doing it. I went to a game in Southern California where a colleague, it's their home district. I'm traveling an hour and a half to get there for this game. It's Division I, it's playoffs. They're not even there. I don't even know if they knew about it. I send them photos. They still don't post them. It's like, this is a huge moment for your district. You don't even have to do anything. Just post the photos. I'll give you everything. But people don't know sports, so they're not. It's such an opportunity miss. You're right. You do not need to cover every regular season game, every sport. But when you make a high achievement, we do the same thing with a kid going to Harvard or something. We post them. Yeah. So when there's a big sports accomplishment, you should be posting that. Like, and that's huge for families.
You make a really, really good point. If anybody out there is listening and is scared about dipping their toe in the water and you aren't doing that, at least start there. That was something that we did really well in my districts. And there's always send-offs. There's always big rallies that lead up to those kind of things. You need to be covering that. You need to be covering the fact that it's coming up, that it's happening, that this team made it. Get out there, do interviews with the student athletes, get that out there on social media. That's a big deal. So if you aren't at least covering those big moments when you guys are making it to the playoffs and those big championships, start with that. And there's just some ideas right there. Right? You're gonna have things that lead up to it. You're gonna have a lot of school spirit. You're gonna have signage. Your ASB programs are gonna be making signs out at the schools promoting the upcoming battle. Get out to interview the students during practices. And then, if you can't travel to the game, find someone who is that can get you some stuff. But definitely at least start there.
Yeah. And to your point, even if you can't get to a big playoff game, most of your teams already have social media pages. Yeah. So that's the first step, is create a system and process. Just follow them. Yep. I know for a fact there's schools out there with great social media pages They're in the playoffs. They're posting amazing videos. All you simply need to do is share, add a congratulations and good
Yep.
luck in the championship game, and you're done. But
It's a
people
free
aren't
social
even
post for
doing,
you. Yeah.
yes. And people aren't doing that. And
Yeah.
so in our district, they'll be like, why do you post so much baseball? Baseball does it for us. I just share their posts. I'm not doing anything. It's like, yeah, we go to some games, they're Division 1. But when you create a system and if you say, if you create a Facebook page where I can easily share it from our district account, I'll post your stuff too. I can't get to every game. If it's a big CIF game or a state championship, we'll get somebody there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we can simply share. So when your coaches are asking about where's the equity, hey, here's how to help us. We can't get to every game. If you're in a big CIF, let us know. We'll help preview it. Or if you create a Facebook page or Instagram page, tag us, let me know. We can share it. So you don't even need to step out of the building to cover your own amazing sports.
Yep.
Because we're doing all this, Matthew. We'll start like, oh, what can we do to attract kids? We're declining enrollment. We need money. Let's start a dual immersion program. Let's start a med CTE, a medical path. And you're hiring, 3 teachers. You're losing $600,000. You can't get the students anyway. Meanwhile, you may have this amazing program where families are looking for a great tennis team, a great golf team, and you have a championship team, an amazing coach.
Yeah.
Just share what you already have in-house in your own building before you create this program that may or may not make money. Because I just see we're all in this like declining enrollment.
Yep.
Well, how do we? It's like you may have a great athletic program that you don't even know about. You're not promoting, you're not showcasing it. And the other thing you can do is most of your high schools, whether you know it or not, are having signing ceremonies. So when their kids are signing to Division 1, Division 2 schools, they invite the parents, they invite the team, they invite the coaches. They're putting up the pennants and the banners, the media as well of their colleges they're going to. That's an easy photo op. And if you can't even get there, tell the athletic director, send us a picture to let me know where the kids are going. Celebrate those. When the teams go on to, big wins, CIF, playoff, state championships, do a board meeting celebration. Bring them in for a board meeting. Talk about it, at the Board of Education meeting. Do a press release on it. To your point about media, there's so many things you can do that is minimal work to help promote your school, a specific aspect that so many people are honestly just not doing a very good job because they're not familiar with athletics or they're not in touch. And it's a gold mine. Family are moving cities and towns and high schools and states even to get good athletics that fit with their family and what they want.
Yeah, just look at Texas. And if you need some simple tips and tricks, we got a lot of stuff on that, a lot of support around that. I mean, like those signing ceremonies, show up, get yourself a cheap pair of wired lapel mics that plug into the bottom of your phone. And, after that ceremony, you get some B-roll during the ceremony. And after the ceremony, grab 1 or 2 of those students that are willing to go on camera with you and talk about their experience at your district and that school. Talk about their future plans. It's a minute long and you've got yourself solid gold right there. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're not covering it, you need to be at least at a base level of those big events and championships. At those signing ceremonies, that's also really super easy. And then, you could also consider just doing an athletic highlight. Get your athletic directors together, brainstorm on some really key areas and sports that they want to cover, that you want to cover as a district and highlight. And then get student athletes in practice, get student athletes on interviews, and put yourself together a 4 or 5 minute video on just your athletics highlights. At least that gets the ball rolling. I've seen some really good success with that in the past, which has been a lot of fun. So,
yeah, those are great ideas. And to your point too, a lot of you may not know who your athletic director is at your high school or your high schools. Meet them, know them. Talk to them. They would love the promotion. They may do all the work for you. You can go to a coaches meeting at the beginning of the year when they're doing like, here's everything we need to do. You can take 10, 20 minutes and be like, all right, guys, this is how I can help you promote your athletics. Create this type of page, create this type of page. You can email me here, send photos here. A lot of them have parent volunteers. They have their own student volunteers. Just get a process and system initially set up. And let them help you do the work, and they will be happy to do it. But you need to know a little bit about sports. You need to talk to your athletic director and get that set up and get that going. I think it's such a missed opportunity. Meanwhile, your CBO, your superintendent are sitting around like, what program can we create? What do we need to build? And like, we have it. Let's invest in our sports. I mean, you mentioned Texas, man. Texas is like, if you don't think they're marketing football and sports and baseball, track and field, I mean, that is big business in Texas.
Yeah, Texas is not seeing the decline in enrollment in most places that we are in the rest of the country. You sparked a thought for me, which jumped into my brain and then jumped out of my brain as soon as it was in there. But it was a good idea, whatever it was.
I'm sure you have many of them. I'm sure it'll come back to you, float back to the atmosphere. But I've sent so many colleagues photos and stuff, and they don't of like major games. Like I'm not just a regular season. It's like, and they don't even post them. I'm like, what? This is like a huge deal for your school. Your parents are going to love it. Your baseball players are going to love it. Like this is, I mean, it's an amazing program. And they don't get it. And so they don't do it.
I remember what I was going to say, and that is something you said a minute ago that really sparked an idea for me. There was something I did in my previous district. I got a Google spreadsheet up, and I wrote down all my schools. And then every time I promoted an event or something at that school, I just went on the spreadsheet and I wrote the date. And at the end of the year, I was able to go back and see like the inequity actually in the schools that I covered and the schools that I didn't. And I realized really quickly that I had a lot of coverage at the schools where the principals were just really good at promoting their events and programs and getting in touch with me. And then there were certain schools where they'd say like, well, why don't you come cover me at all? Well, you'd never told me things were going down despite repeated attempts to get a hold of you and find out what's going on. And you might consider doing something like that too. If you're in a really big district, it might be overwhelming, but at least map out the sports programs that you have. And then just tag when you covered a particular sporting event or a sport. That way you can go back at the end of 3, 4 months, 6 months, maybe even a year and say, man, I didn't cover girls volleyball, or I didn't cover, whatever that is, cheer. And you can find the holes in your program. And that might help you if you're battling the inequity conversation in your own mind. That might help you at least plug some of those gaps, knowing there are going to be programs out there that are going to hit you up. They're going to be really self-promotional, that are going to be forward-thinking and getting your attention. And you're going to be able to reshare stuff on social really easily, but there are going to be programs that fly under the radar that aren't as good at self-promotion. And if you can at least track that in some sort of a way that you can identify, quarterly or at the end of the year, you'll be able to go back and do a better job around promoting those other programs as well.
For sure. And equity, it's tough to do it. To be perfectly fair, coverage for everyone. And, I tell my interns when we have that conversation, we got to try and get all the schools, all the sports. But, if you look at the LA Times, on the front page of their sports page, are we seeing Arcadia High athletics every day? Are we seeing our football team? No, because most of the readers care about the Lakers and the Dodgers. So it's like, yeah, we're going to post a little bit more where people are there, they care about. And some of this stuff is to help bring in students, bring in money. So it is sort of a little bit of a business decision as equitable as you try and be. So it's a tough one, but to say we're not covering sports because we can't be equitable is like, well, you're doing that with all your other programs, your music, your sports, your academics. So you're still trying there. So why would you not try with athletics, which may actually bring in more families than some of the academics and things like that? There's some areas where the families, their number one concern, unfortunately, is sports over academics, over performing arts, over you name it. And so, some people are looking like, what are we going to do to attract all these students and families? We're declining, we're losing enrollment. And so, well, you may have an amazing program right under your own roof. It's just, you got to turn around and look at it.
Yeah. As far as doing things that move the needle forward, it's definitely another spoke in the wheel to pay attention to.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, I thought that one is missed or not taken advantage of by a lot of people, that it could be an easy fix to help do some branding, do some enrollment marketing and recruitment. And there's some easy ways, as you talked about, is just set up a system. You don't need to be at every game. Talk to the AD, talk to the coaches. And parents are happy to send in photos and all that stuff. So
start a whole social media campaign around award-winning athletic programs in your district, and meet with those athletic directors and find out the history. Maybe you've got a particular program that's won a CIF championship 8 times out of the last 12 years. Like, that's a big deal. Like, let's talk about that, right? And just do a highlight with that athletic director and a couple interviews with students. If you can get alumni in, that'd be amazing. Where are they at now? How did your program at that school impact their college life, their personal, their professional lives? So there's a lot you can do around that, absolutely, for certain. And it doesn't even have to mean you're attending games. It could just mean that you're highlighting the programs, like Ryan said, that you've got in play.
You had 2 great ideas there. One is get the historical data and some of the research, and then which your athletic director will have. So if this could be the first time the tennis team is in the state championship, or the first time since 67, or this is the first time in the history of the school we went back to back in a state championship or a CIF. And the other great point that you brought up, and you can sit on your couch and do this, and it takes no time, is follow your famous athletic alumni.
Yes.
Some of you have big time athletes playing Division I colleges,
Olympians,
where their social media, or in the pros, and they're famous athletes. And you're not like mentioning that we have our one of our alumni is the U.S. men's volleyball coach. Cool. And so, he hasn't been around here in 30 years, but he's the UCLA coach. He's the Olympic volleyball coach. So every time they're in the Olympics, we Arcadia High alumni, and what they're doing. And so you're right. You probably have all these pro athletes, or 1 or 2, or this great athlete that's at college, somewhere doing amazing things. Promote them, and just that's the student academic life, the student athlete. And so there's easy ways to do it. So there's opportunity there that you can definitely take advantage of.
Absolutely. I think we've shared a lot of really good ideas around this.
All right, get to it, people. If you need to talk sports, learn sports, I'm happy to do it. Matthew's a sports guru. He's happy to help you with athletics as well.
I'm so good at all of that.
Hey, appreciate it. Check us out on social media. We are there. You can send us an email, schoolprpodcast@gmail.com. Sign up for our email list. All that fun stuff. Matthew, the episode we haven't released yet, speaking of getting me fired up?
Ooh, what is it?
The APR versus Masters.
Come on. You got to put it out there. Release it. Unleash the video. You got to get that out there. It's a fun one. It's a fun one.
We had Emily on. God bless Emily. She's doing amazing work. But
she put up with us.
I definitely have some opinions on the APR versus Masters that I let out. And I got to tell you, I got a call last week. Is somebody trying to get in our field, and they're talking about APR versus Masters, and I explained it. But my one point was, and I don't know how much I went into this on that episode, but like, if you think your superintendent, the HR director of a school district, knows what an APR is over a Masters, no, I don't think they do.
Yeah, think they do. Okay, we can't get this party rolling again.
I know. Yeah. But that episode, let us know if you want that one released. That one is due soon.
Yeah, that was fun.
But that'll be out soon as well. So appreciate everyone listening. Matthew, great ideas as always. And on our last episode about graduation and graduation ideas, you had an amazing episode with remarkable ideas. If you're looking to streamline graduation, how to highlight that. So I just want to thank you for that, because you had so many good ideas about streamlining the actual ceremony, which we all need.
Yes.
And then, and then just the end of the year stuff. So
that's awesome. Absolutely.
Awesome stuff as always, brother. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. See you.
Be sure to follow the School PR Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and X, where you can find additional resources and highlights from the show. Please like, subscribe, and all the fun stuff. And most importantly, without our sponsors, this podcast doesn't exist. Please visit schoolstatus.com, peachjar.com, nickelstrategies.com, and smore.com. Until next time, keep learning, inspiring, and making a difference. Thanks so much for your support of the School PR Podcast.